I'm Melisa Idris, and this is The Brand, the show about advertising, how it works and how it works on us. Now, joining me on the show today, I have Prashant Kumar, the senior partner at the marketing consultancy Entropia. He's the former president of IPG Media Brands in Asia World Markets and the CEO of IPG Media Brands in Malaysia. And also, I have Naim Brundage, who is the CEO of the newly established digital marketing agency, Nobleman Creations. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Thank you.
I'd also like to add, Naim was previously the Chief Marketing Officer of Invoke Malaysia. So you guys helped run Pakatan Harapan's data-driven campaign for GE14.
Correct.
All right. So today we're going to be looking at digital advertising. I guess this is especially current given the aftermath of the Christchurch mosque terror attack. Now, we had brands like Burger King, like Spark Westpac, among the many big-name brands planning to leave or have pulled out their ads from Facebook and Google. So this was after the terrorists live-streamed the massacre on that platform. So I guess I'm curious to know, I'll start with you, Prashant, how you make, what you make of this. You know, is Facebook still an attractive platform for advertisers?
Well, I mean, new technology opens new questions of morality and what's right and what's wrong. But the truth is that Facebook has been through much worse in the past. Congressional hearings, Russian interference in US elections. There are so many things that have happened over the years, but there has been really there have been some reactions, some advertisers pulling out and stuff like that, but it hasn't affected Facebook's revenue and growth. So these are transitory.
Well, you know, I'm looking at what Invoke spent on Facebook when during the GE14 campaigns. I think you spent more than 800,000 ringgit on Facebook for marketing. Do recent events change the equation for you, Naim, especially with Nobleman Creations?
I believe not, because a lot of the advertisers and a lot of the brands out there, we speak dollar and cents. Right. So dollar and cents usually speaks louder than principles when it comes to businesses, and I think that will continue. And I agree with Mr. Prashant when he said that a lot of these advertisers are very pragmatic. They're going to go where the best ROI they can get. And right now, unfortunately speaking, due to the recent tragedy, Facebook and perhaps Google is still one of the best digital advertising avenue that you can spend your money on. You
don't think that users of Facebook and Google will punish these platforms and therefore punish advertisers who continue to use them?
Well, the truth is that there is an innate understanding among people that new technology can be used and misused. So Facebook brings many benefits to people on an everyday basis in terms of how they can connect with others and communicate with others. So, well, a nuclear reaction was invented as a great evolution of modern science, where it was misused as well, right? So I mean, it's being seen like that by people.
It's the way people use it, right?
Yeah, so evil people will misuse it.
Gentlemen, do you think that the popularity of Facebook has started to wane a little bit? I mean, let's think about it, right? Prashant, you mentioned that Facebook has been through much worse. But at what point will users start to get fed up with this platform and the multiple missteps? Because we've just heard news that the Multimedia Commission, MCMC in Malaysia, has just said that they're urging Malaysians to change their passwords for Facebook and Instagram because Facebook has just admitted that they have left millions of passwords exposed in plain text. That means anyone in the company could have seen these passwords and taken them. So now we have to change our passwords for Facebook and Instagram. Don't you think that the popularity of this brand, the Facebook brand, could suffer?
If you really ask me, the biggest threat to Facebook are not these events, unfortunate as they may be. The biggest threat is technological shift and generational trends. Okay. So young people these days in many countries, they are veering towards Snapchat and, for instance, Instagram. It's a Facebook platform as well, but it's different. And technological shift is another threat. For instance, tomorrow we may have a social platform based on augmented reality, and if Facebook is not able to catch up with that technology, or they are not the first ones to create a platform in that,
Facebook could be made redundant, like MySpace and Friendster.
It could always happen, yeah. In the world we live in, nobody can foresee technological shifts, and when they happen really fast, because network effect is really exponential.
Right.
So yeah, the threat is from the generational shift in trend and technology, rather than these events.
Right. Do you agree with that? I mean, you use Facebook a lot in Invoke, right?
Correct. And I believe that Facebook, due to its market share in Instagram and the rising popularity of Instagram stories and Instagram stories ads, will continue to be helpful for Facebook to grow its market share in the digital advertising space. And also going back to the Christchurch event, I don't think we can blame Facebook alone in terms of that. I think regulatory bodies and government agencies will also have to work hand in hand with all these technological advertiser platforms in order to ensure.
Do you think Facebook did enough, though? I mean, you know, we had the BBC tech correspondent Rory Callan-Jones saying that Facebook was quite swift in acting, but you know, so many people still saw this, and it went viral. Granted, it was an 8chan user, I think, that did that. But do you think Facebook did enough, in your personal opinion? No,
I believe that there is room to improve. I believe there has been lapses in terms of Facebook management and how they handle this scenario. I have seen the reports where they have removed about 7,000 and above of those videos within 24 hours. But I myself personally saw it, so I guess there was still lapses in how they handle that situation.
I'm curious to know, you said a little bit earlier, advertisers look at dollars and cents and what makes the most sense in terms of reach. You don't think, so I guess I'm wondering what your thoughts are, both of you, when advertisers, and in an event like this, how should advertisers react to incidents like Christchurch?
So advertisers who believe in a higher purpose for their businesses than just selling their products, they tend to show sensitivity by pulling out. However, it's important to understand that all such pullouts are temporary.
Okay, so you would expect to see brands coming back?
That's what has happened. This is not the first time advertisers are pulling out. I think 2 years back there was some incident where Al-Qaeda funding ISIS funding was coming via YouTube. There was some incident around pedophilia videos, ads being seen next to it. Each time there are these incidents, there is some temporary pullout of some advertisers, but then they all come back.
Is it just until people forget to move on to the next big story?
Yeah, it's become a corporate communications sensitivity response.
Right, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, even if you look into Tony Fernandez, he tweeted recently about this. But if I look at AirAsia's Facebook page,
right?
But AirAsia's Facebook page is still there.
His Facebook page is still there?
AirAsia's Facebook page. Yeah, it still have 20 million Facebook likes, and I do see recent postings just today and yesterday. So I believe they're going to continue using Facebook in the near future. It's dollars and cents at the bottom line.
Really
and I think us as a consumer, I think we can expect that from brands as well. There's no way they will risk losing their revenue compared to the competitors. I mean, louder than principles.
Right. Well, we're going to continue our discussion on Google and Facebook's dominant hold on ad dollars in this industry right here on The Brand. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is The Brand. I'm Melisa Idris, and we're talking about digital advertising today, specifically Google and Facebook's dominant hold on ad dollars. I'd like to get your thoughts on what this has meant for the industry. So, Prashant, I mean, you've been in the industry for some time now. You've seen it evolve. You're seeing the shift of advertisers away from traditional avenues and moving on to Facebook and Google. What has this meant for the industry?
As far as marketers is concerned, it has definitely opened up new opportunities, new options. As far as publishers are concerned, the traditional publishers, of course, it has wreaked havoc. Today, the ad sales supported models of many traditional publishers are being seriously re-looked into.
Right.
And they are having to rethink the commercial models. So different parts of the industry, different implications. For marketers, it has meant better efficiency in certain ways. If you are an airline player or you are an e-commerce player who is also selling online, it's very easy to see that how many people are clicking on your ad and then whether they buy or not and how much revenue comes from that advertising. So it's very easy to see return on investment.
Right.
But which traditional media did not offer. Means you could not measure immediately,
right.
Dollar to dollar. So, however, if you are a brand that is mainly focusing on upper funnel and mid funnel, which is creating awareness or building desire, like let's say soft drink, you can't buy online. I mean, rare people buy online immediately.
It's just about the brand awareness, right? And constantly
awareness
having
or desire and image and stuff like that. Then I think traditional mediums still are extremely strong. So there, I think there is a more level playing field in certain ways.
I do want to come back to that, the purposes of advertising on social media as opposed to traditional platforms. But I want to get Naeem's thoughts on Facebook, because your work with Invoke really leveraged on Facebook and Google and Instagram as well. I do want to kind of focus on where you see Facebook positioned in Nobleman Creations, because I understand you're going to be focusing on digital marketing for SMEs and NGOs.
Correct.
Facebook has a lower barrier of entry, so it's probably easier for you. So you see this as a tool, right?
The rise of digital media has definitely been helpful to my business, Nobleman Creation. I'm a digital advertising agency. A lot of our work is with, as you have mentioned, with Facebook and with Google. And I work with a lot of NGOs, with a lot of SMEs, and do not have the advertising expenditure that a lot of these monolith creatures, mega creatures, big brands in this industry. They are not able, they can't afford to go into most of the traditional spaces available out there. They can't put their adverts on billboards, on radios, on a lot of the newspapers out there. But they can go into Facebook and spend the minimum RM3 per day. I mean, any Tom, Dick and Harry, any small-time micro-entrepreneurs can start running advertisement on Facebook tomorrow if they have a business in mind of something that they want to sell. So I believe Facebook and Google will continue to be a large chunk of our focus at Nobleman Creation.
Why though? Why Facebook and Google? What is the benefits, apart from how cheap it is and the low barriers to entry? What is the draw that Facebook and Google has?
I think it's demand and supply. So advertisers, we are just market players and we listen to the market forces. And right now, if you look at consumers, if you look at traffics, they all are at either Facebook, Instagram, Twitter or Google. And they use this platform a lot of hours in their day, every day. So I believe advertisers are just going where the traffic is. We're just reacting to where people are going. If it's Snapchat next, that's where the advertisers will be soon.
I see. That's interesting.
See, television was a source of entertainment, newspaper was a source of information and stuff. But you talk about Facebook, it's a living platform. People are living their lives on Facebook.
Are you on Facebook, Prashant?
Very much.
How long do you spend on Facebook a day?
Well, maybe, I mean, it's not like I spend continuously half an hour, but it'll be like a minute here, a minute there, a few seconds here.
Right.
You are pretty much, Facebook pervades your life the whole day.
And you as well, I take it?
Even more, 70 to 80% of my time.
It's just a little pause in between things, you know, you just...
But even as industry insiders, are you affected by advertising on Facebook? Do you even look at the ads? Does it penetrate your consciousness in any way?
So that depends on what ad it is. So versus the traditional media, where it was means you sit in the ad break and whatever ads they show you, you have to watch it.
Right.
In Facebook, the power,
captive audience, right?
Correct. You have a captive audience. If you see YouTube, you get to skip the ad in 5 seconds. In Facebook, you can scroll down really fast because you are in a lean forward mode rather than lean backward mode, right? So expectations from commercial messages to be creative, to be share-worthy, to be something different, to bring real meaningful value in exchange for people's attention is a lot more
Okay.
which is a huge challenge that our industry faces today.
Have to capture the attention very quickly.
And have to have something meaningful for people.
You know, it was really interesting to me that some of about 22 million Malaysians, you know, we have a population of 35 million. 22 million Malaysians are on social media here in Malaysia. 88% of the population from 25 to 34 are on the internet on a daily basis. That makes us one of the biggest Facebook markets in the world. So Malaysia really is, you know, prime ground for advertisers to tap into. I guess I'm wondering, you know, whether consumers are spending their time online and whether the advertising is effective. Do advertisers think it's effective?
I think at the end of the day, it always falls back to reach. Either you're seeing an ad on TV, on billboards, or on in magazines, or on top of your mugs. At the end of the day, it's about reaching consumers. And Facebook is just one of the many mediums that you can use in order to reach people. And right now, that is where the traffic is at. So that is where we capitalize. And if you look, no one goes on Facebook to watch an ad. No one goes on TV to watch an ad. No one reads the newspaper to look at ads to see what new ads are coming up. This is something you are encroaching into the territory of when someone is using that platform to get information or a source of entertainment. So of course, like what Mr. Prashan has said, you're intruding their space already, so make sure they're entertained by it. Make sure you're providing value into their lives in order to make your product message comes clearly.
All right, we're going to continue this discussion, especially on how advertisers are changing their budgeting requirements with the rise of social media. That's coming up next on The Brand. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us on The Brand. We're talking digital advertising today with players from the industry. We have Prashant Kumar from Entropia as well as Naim Brundage from Nobleman Creations. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about how advertisers are budgeting their resources with the rise of digital media. Looking at the US as an example, we have forecasts by market research company eMarketer saying that for the first time this year, money spent on digital advertising will surpass money spent on traditional ads, and that's the first time ever. Yeah. So this year will be the first time ever. Do you think that this trend will spread to Malaysia, and how quickly will it come to our shores? Prashant, Naim?
Well, I think we are not very far from there.
Where are we at the moment? Are we close to it?
I think we are pretty close. Unfortunately, digital players do not reveal their entire ad spends. However, our own estimates say that the gap is closing in pretty fast, and probably in the next 2 years we are seeing digital edX overtaking the traditional media.
I'm not sure about all of the brands in Malaysia, but the ones that I've worked with at least, if I look at 5 to 4 years ago, it was 20 to 30% digital, the rest on traditional. If I look at 2-3 years ago, it was 40-60, 40% digital and 60% traditional. I'm thinking probably this year or the next, or right immediately after, it will be 50-50 or even more on digital compared to traditional. And then if you look at traditional publishers, most of them are going digital. So even traditional itself is changing as newspaper have digital online newspaper.
Outdoors, you see more and more digital outdoors. Then you see a lot of OTT players now jumping on the advertising as a source of revenue.
Right. I mean, this is really, I guess, the crux of the matter, isn't it? It's the data-driven marketing, and that's what Facebook and Google will have, and Amazon as well. You know, this is a shift away from the different kinds of metrics that we've been familiar with in the past. You know, Invoke was when you were involved with Invoke, Naim, that was a huge focus of that organization. Data-driven campaigns, and I take it that Nobleman Creations will be doing the same. You're going to be using big data analytics, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yes. So big data, I think at the end of the day, whoever controls the modern day advertising, either now or in the future, is regards to who has the most data, who has the most efficient data, the most clean data, and the most effective data. And as a Nobleman Creations, we're putting a lot of emphasis on collection, data collection, and extracting all this data at any points, any sources that we can. So as soon as we attach to a new client, we have a new data source. As long as we attach to a new partner, a new supplier, we have a new data source as well. And we're continuously trying to grow our data operation in order to give us a bit of a competitive edge compared to our competitors.
Is that the trend that is going to be in the advertising industry? Is that something you foresee happening, that you're going to see a lot more of the usage of data-driven campaigns, of big data analytics?
And I think it's highly desirable as well. Everybody knows that, well, at Cannes a couple of years back, PDD came and he said, everybody hates advertising. I do. Truth is that advertising always would intrude on people's normal lives. And out of 10 things, maybe 1 or 2 things were relevant to you, rest were not relevant. So with the help of data, for the first time, there is a real opportunity to drive a level of relevance that's a lot higher. So maybe out of those 10 things, 6 things would be relevant to you, or 7 things would be relevant to you, and hence advertising wastes less of your time.
So this is a good thing.
This is a good thing, yeah.
In your point of view, it's a good thing because it narrows it down and becomes more targeted.
More targeted, makes it more relevant, respects your time and attention better, and is also more efficient for advertisers because they're not wasting their money on people who are not interested really.
And again, at the heart of the matter is data. So the collection of the data is important, the harvesting of the data and extraction, if I might add, and that's going to be what drives this industry, right? As what drives many other industries, the use of data. How are agencies like yourselves dealing with that?
So, I mean, at Entropia, we believe that mass marketing happened because mass media happened, and now that media is becoming micro-targeted, mass marketing will be superseded eventually by personalized marketing personalization at scale. So people, for the last 100 years, people talked about USP, unique sales proposition. Now we talk about PSPs, personalized sales propositions. People talk about segments. Now we talk about micro audiences and micro moments and stuff. How do we tap it in order to drive up the level of relevance? And there is a more meaningful value exchange between people's time and attention and the message we are trying to show. So we have built a sizable team of data scientists, data engineers, architects who can create unified data architecture that can tell us a lot about a person's future behaviors, and it allows us to be more relevant to them.
How about you? Are you going to be doing the same thing that Invoke did? Because that sounds very familiar. As opposed to building a profile for marketing, one can very easily build a profile to look at voting patterns, preferences in political parties.
Correct. So big data, and especially if I just may add, automation is a large part of our processes. If you look at how big data is being used right now, for example, how Lazada was mentioned just now, their method of using big data, using data points in order to run ads is based on automation as well. So if I'll give you a case example. If you go to Lazada and you open one tab on Striker or ironing boards, that thing will follow you for the next few months because Lazada advertisers that handles Lazada understands that if you have looked into ironing board but you did not purchase, chances are there is a need to target you compared to the other 22 million Malaysians out there who has shown expressively no interest in ironing boards. So that's a case example of what we're planning to do at Nobleman Creations, how we're trying to collect as much data as we can, trying to understand more about people. And I think a lot of one of the things that is also often overlooked in the digital space is the comments. So us
the comment section.
Okay. So us in Nobleman Creations, we extract all the comments that we can, not just from all of our pages, but all of the other pages that we can find.
What data is in the comments?
It gives you a lot of opinions in terms of how people perceive your brand.
Comment section. That's a That's
we have
rich
a tool,
minefield.
We have a tool called Resonance that can tell you in 5 different emotions whether people are angry, disgusted, happy, relaxed. I mean, in different emotions regarding a certain brand message, which really puts incredible power at your hand to make things more meaningful for people. So it's good for people ultimately.
All right, on that note, I want to thank both of you for being on the show today. You know, if you've missed any part of the show, you can catch it in full on awani.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media. I'll be back same time next week looking at the advertising industry right here on The Brand.